Also want to go ahead and get some, oh, you got these mosquitoes and everything getting a little angry this morning. What is that? Oh, butyl tape. If you've ever looked inside of your toilet in your RV, it's probably not something you really want to work on too much. Well, I'm up here, back up to the Airstream. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Rick here, and on today's video, I'm going to share with you 3 must-have spare parts that I think every Airstream owner should carry. So stay tuned. So guys, like I said in the intro, today we're going to be talking about 3 must-have spare parts. But before we move on to that topic, I've got some other work I got to get done here on the Airstream. So I'm going to go ahead and power up the generator, get the air conditioner running just to help kind of cool off the inside. It's another hot day here in South Carolina. It's going to be in the 90s, high humidity, so we want to go ahead and get that fired up. But yeah, so we got a couple things we're going to do on the inside of the Airstream. Going to go ahead and replace the toilet. I had noticed that I was having some leaking on the toilet, so I went ahead and ordered a new one. We're going to go ahead and get that replaced, as well as I've got to replace the shower sweep. A little frustrated with that. I replaced that back in February, and again, it's torn, so I'm going to go ahead and replace that with a new one. I'm going to try a different installation method, see if that help extend the life of the shower sweep. But before we get started with that, we got to get the AC kicking in there so we can start cooling off the Airstream. Also, you may see behind me here, you can see these stakes with these cones on it. You may be wondering what those are for. That's just to help me, as we're planning to have a shelter built for the Airstream later this year, to identify kind of where the 4 corners and where the concrete pad's going to get poured. I use that just to kind of help me visualize, the dimensions of the structure we're going to have built. So that's really what those are for. You can probably see the other cone and stakes in the back, and then there's one over here on the other side by the truck. Ideally, when we get this structure built, it'll be 24 feet wide, 36 feet long with 12-foot legs on the side. It'll allow us to park the Airstream with no problem, as well as the truck on the side. I also want to go ahead and get some, oh, you got these mosquitoes and everything getting a little angry this morning. But it should allow me then to park the truck off to the side of the Airstream, provide some overhead cover, as well as some shade, and just help prevent any excessive UV exposure to the Airstream, as well as any protection from any type of harsh sun and hail or anything like that. So we're looking forward to getting that built. We're also going to get a driveway put in back here that goes out to the back of the property, so that way we can pull in from that direction, unhitch the Airstream here, and then whenever we depart, then we'll just pull out forward out this way through the front driveway and everything. It'll really make a nice, easy entry and exit for the Airstream whenever we're hitting the road. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get the generator started, get the air conditioner going, get it cooled off inside, go inside, do those repairs, and then talk with you about some of those must-have spare parts. So yeah, let's get busy before it gets too much hotter. So a couple of weeks ago, when I was using my generator, if you watched that video, I was having a problem getting it started. I had to call up Furman technical support, and I would tell you they did a fantastic job, helping me troubleshoot the issue. It was all operator error. I was trying to quickly get the generator running. I wasn't going through all of the proper startup procedures and everything, but I think we've got it all figured out now. We got all the switches in the right spot, choke pulled out, propane's all turned on. But the trick that I learned was this battery power switch. You have to hold it down for a good 3 seconds before you can start the generator. So we'll go ahead and get that done. And I tell you, just like that, no problems. Great generator as long as you're operating it correctly. It's a great option if you're looking for alternative power sources. Okay, so now that we've got the generator running, we'll go ahead and kick the AC on, get it cooling off in here a little bit. I like to just kind of check to see how the batteries are looking. So they're charging right now. Everything's good to go, got lights on. So we'll go ahead and get the AC kicked on. Shouldn't take too long, hopefully, to get this thing cooled off. So it says it's only 79 degrees in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick this thing down to about 75. See how long that takes for it to cool off. All right, so we got the air conditioner running, and we're gonna go ahead and let it cool off in here a little bit. So while we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start gathering up a few tools that I'm gonna need to replace the toilet. It doesn't really take much, only a couple bolts that hold it down. Got to disconnect the water line, relatively quick and easy repair. But we'll go ahead and get those tools gathered up and get busy working on getting the Airstream ready for our next road trip. Okay, so got my tools gathered up for this first repair, which is just going to be replacing the shower sweep, which I've got right here. You can pick this up. I think it was like 12 bucks over at Woodland Airstream parts store. Again, a great resource for finding some of these unique Airstream parts. You know, like I mentioned earlier, I already replaced this once back in February, but this time I'm going to try a different installation method. And you may be, well, you know, how many different ways can you install a shower sweep? So, you know, if you're familiar with this, I don't know if you can see this very well or not. There's a little groove on here that slides into the bottom of the shower door. And then on the bottom, on one side, you have the vinyl sweep that hangs down. So when I installed it last time, I installed it with the sweep facing inwards towards the shower. This time I'm going to try installing it the opposite direction with the sweep facing outward. I just want to see if that will make a difference in the longevity of the shower sweep whenever you're opening and closing the door. Because what's happening, I think, is when you open and close the door, the metal trim around the bottom of the shower is catching on the vinyl sweep, and eventually over time it's just tearing it. So I'm going to see if just installing it in the opposite direction will make this shower sweep last a little bit longer. So I had already pulled out the old shower sweep out from the bottom of the door down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me tilt the camera down here. So the old sweep would fit in right down here. I've already went ahead and pulled that old one out, threw that in the trash. But we're going to go ahead and install this new one. Like I said previously, I'd installed it with the sweep facing inward towards the shower. This time I'm going to install it with the sweep facing outward to see if that improves the durability and the longevity of this this part here, and just to keep any water from running down onto the wood here on the Airstream. So yep, let's go ahead and get it done. So just like that, got the shower sweep installed and should be good to go. Hey, so like I said, also our next task is to replace the original Dometic toilet here in our Airstream. I noticed that there were some leaks around some of the valves and the flapper valve, and you know, I probably could have went ahead and tried to find the replacement parts for that and repaired the toilet, but you know, if you've ever looked inside of your toilet in your RV, it's probably not something you really want to work on too much. So instead of going the route of repairing the toilet, I went ahead and just decided to buy a whole new toilet, and we'll go ahead and get that installed. Should be relatively easy. You just got to disconnect the water line, and then there's two mounting bolts that hold the toilet in place on the floorboard. We'll go ahead and take those out, swap out the toilet, and then we'll be on to our next task. Okay, so got the old toilet removed. I'm gonna go ahead and take it outside. A little bit nasty, kind of gross, but it's all right. All right, so we'll just go ahead and set her down right here. Get ready to install the next one. So now that we've got the old toilet taken outside, you know, obviously the next thing you want to do is clean up around here, around the floor. You want to inspect the floor, make sure that there isn't any kind of water damage. and then just get it ready and prepped for the installation of the next toilet coming in. Okay, so we've got the old toilet removed and set out here on the ground. So now it's just time to go ahead and unbox the new toilet. Again, it's going to be a very simple installation. Really, all you got are the 2 mounting screws, and then you just got to attach the water line back on there. But you know, we'll go ahead and get this unboxed. Quite a bit of packing material in here. Just a lot of cardboard to help keep this new toilet from getting damaged in shipment. But you know, as you know, it's a ceramic toilet. A lot of the ones that you get in lesser model RVs are just plastic and aren't nearly as high quality as what these Dometic ceramic toilets are. But again, comes in one solid piece. I'll hold it up here. It's already got the gasket on the bottom, and then the hardware is attached here on the side, which is just some replacement caps, some washers, screws and everything. So we'll go ahead and get that installed. Again, shouldn't take but a minute, and then we'll be on to our next task. Okay, so we got everything all unpacked, got all of the plastic and shipping materials removed and everything. We'll go ahead and carry it inside and go ahead and get it installed, and that'll be it. All right, guys, so just like that, within just a matter of a few minutes, we were able to go ahead and swap out the old Dometic toilet, got the new one installed. Like I said, really simple task, something that you can easily do as a DIY type task. You know, it just takes a little bit of time, a few tools, and really simple. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go outside, and I'm going to talk with you about some of those 3 must-have spare parts that I think you should be carrying anytime you're traveling with your Airstream. So let's go. So if you don't have a spare parts bin, I would highly recommend getting one. I picked this up at Home Depot, but it's just a great way to keep kind of everything organized and readily available whenever you need it. Just sit down here. Man, it is getting hot today. But hey guys, so like I mentioned earlier in the video, there are 3, I think, must-have spare parts that you need to be carrying with you if you own an Airstream. Now, you know, several months ago, I did a video on my top 10 critical spare parts, and I'll put a link up, you know, wherever it goes on here, and you can check that out. But, you know, after I posted that video, I got a lot of great comments, a lot of great feedback from you viewers, making some suggestions of some other parts that I may want to carry. You know, and over the course of the year, as I was traveling, I was also talking with some very experienced Airstreamers, and they kind of kept reiterating some of those spare parts they thought I should be carrying that I really hadn't had on my list of critical spare parts. So, you know, last week, if you watched the previous video, we were up at an Airstream rally, had an opportunity to talk with a couple of fellow Airstreamers, one of them by the name of John Leake. If you're familiar with John, he's the gentleman that coordinates and puts on Alumalina. And, you know, he is a Airstreamer with immense experience and knowledge. And during the course of the rally, I was talking to him about some of the spare parts that I carry and some of the things like that. And one of the first things that he told me that I should be carrying with me is a spare city water inlet valve. So I picked this up here just recently on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. But I think for about, you know, $45, $50 or whatever it is, John said this is something that will absolutely need to be replaced over time. You know, it's your water inlet valve that's on the outside of your rig, and it screws on with I think 4 screws, and then on the interior, and in my rig it's the interior of the closet. There's a little wall there that you can unscrew and remove, and it allows you access to this water inlet valve. And it's just a simple fitting that screws onto the back, and it also allows you to have access to where your black water flush point is, as well as your in my case my 30 amp power inlet comes in as well. So if you are familiar with where those access points are on your rig, replacing this is a simple 5-minute task. Now I will tell you one thing though, this doesn't come with the gasket. So you either need to save the gasket from the old water inlet valve, or you'd have to create a gasket, you know, using, what is that, butyl tape. You could use some butyl tape, I believe, to seal this off if you had to ever replace that. So this is number 1 on my must-have spare parts that you should be carrying with you on your rig. So next, let me dig around in here, is this little device right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. And I picked this up on Amazon as well. Again, I'll put a link in the description. Now this is a sail switch. And this is what you use, and if you can see here, it's got a vane or a sail that activates this switch. I'll get up here a little bit closer. So this would activate this switch. And this is for your furnace. In the event that this gets dirty or broken or just wears out over time, you can pick up 2 of these sail switches. I think I paid $12, $13 for it. But again, another, I would say, must-have spare part for any Airstream to be carrying. Because if you're ever out camping and your furnace will kick on, but then it shuts off after about 30 seconds or so, it's likely that this sail switch is either dirty or faulty, and you can just easily replace this without too much trouble. And then the last item, let me see if I can find it in here. What did I do with it? Okay, and then the last item, and again, this was another recommendation from John at the Airstream rally, and ironically, this is a part that I just replaced when I reinstalled a new toilet, and that is your Dometic toilet water valve. So this is the valve. Let me get up here a little bit closer. So this is the valve that the water inlet line comes into and attaches here, and then your outlet that goes to fill the bowl attaches here. And this is activated by the foot pedal on your Dometic toilet. You know, according to John and other Airstreamers out there, again, this is a plastic part. Over time, it's going to have wear and tear, and it'll start to leak. And I think this was about a $45 part as well. And you can replace this relatively easily if you ever needed to. And the reason why I didn't just replace this on my toilet is because I also had some other issues with that toilet, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go ahead and replace the entire toilet, but then I'm gonna maintain some of these other spare parts that I need to have on hand. So again, this is number 3 of your must-have parts. So I guess kind of to wrap this video up, is if you look at my previous video on those top 10 critical spare parts, I would say now I would change that. I would put a big X on it and call it my top 13 critical spare parts. And these are 3 must-have spare parts that you probably should be carrying with you anytime you're out traveling. So hopefully this video was useful for you. This is just something I enjoy doing. I enjoy getting out in my Airstream and traveling, making memories. But the more you use any piece of equipment, such as an Airstream, you're gonna have to maintain it. And if I can just share with you some of my experience and some of the tips that I've learned, and it can help you have a more enjoyable camping trip, then that's really what I'm hoping to do here as well. If you have any comments or questions, if you think there are some other must-have spare parts that I'm probably forgetting off of this list, leave those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. We're all learning together as part of the Airstream community, and just love to hear from you. Also, if you haven't already done so, consider subscribing to our channel. If you see us on the road, don't hesitate to wave, or if we're at a campground, stop and say hello. We'd love to chat with you as well. And if you like this video, just give us a thumbs up. It really helps us out on the YouTube algorithm. It lets people know that this is good content and that it's beneficial to everybody that's watching. So if we don't hear from you, hopefully we'll see you down the road.